All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we making up plays. You talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. Hitting the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, they work in your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays.
What's going on, everyone, and welcome to the very first brand new episode of Between the Pipes. I am here with my co-host, Xander Weinstein. Okay. Now, we did talk a little bit about this, but for the viewers, I'm going to ask the same question again. Starting off, what is your favorite NHL hockey team?
My favorite NHL team is the Red Wings. I've only been a Red Wings fan for since like middle school. I kind of followed the Canucks more back then just because I thought their logo was cool, but I then switched it because, my mom was born in Detroit and I thought that might be make a little more sense than rooting for somewhere in Vancouver.
I follow the local teams a lot, but I root for the teams that I was born, where I was born. So actually, I'm a big Colorado Avalanche fan. So I root for everything Colorado. That includes, not in the hockey, but that's not what this show is about. This is a hockey show. So to start it off, as I am having a little bit of a dog's barking right now. Starting off, Montreal has. They went in. I decided I wanted to do this one first. They went in and they lost the Stanley Cup Finals to the Tampa Bay Lightning, and then this year they're last in their conference. They're not just last in their division, but they're last in the conference. What happened?
I mean, I can't really pinpoint one thing on this. I know that the general manager, he was asked, I think, back in the early stages of this terrible season. I think back when they were 6-15-1 or something like that, or 2. I know that they had their general manager fired, but that was more in the season. Goaltending has been a big issue. Carey Price, who pretty much got them to the Stanley Cup last season, has not played a minute on ice this season. And it's been Jake Allen and a couple of other guys that we really don't hear of often because Price and Allen are the two main guys for the team, goalie-wise. So I think you could really chalk it up to a lot of goaltending issues, and they've also had some injuries here and there. I know that Jeff Petrie was out for a little bit, one of their top defensemen, but as well as they're not. I've watched a couple of games for them. I've been watching a lot of games for the NHL, and I've watched a few Montreal Canadiens games, trying to pinpoint to see what was wrong. And they're not really a well-oiled machine like they were in the playoffs last year. They're more of like, I don't know. They're kind of playing like stat stuffers, but not really, because they're not really stuffing any stats at this point. But like they're kind of just playing separately. They're not playing together as a team, and I think that's also what's hurting them. And so just the goaltending really, and not playing as a team. That honestly are two big main reasons why I think Montreal just completely plummeted this season.
I just looked at some of the games going on that they played lately. They don't have a game today, but they played yesterday. They lost 5-2 in that one to the Capitals, which that's pretty normal. But they lost to the Devils 7-1.
Yeah, that they've really shown that they're doing what the Red Wings did a few years, like 2 years ago.
Yeah,
they're really showing that, hey, if you want to win, play us. Honestly, you need a game that you want a game that'll bring you into the playoffs. Just play us. It's fine. We'll bring you right in there. We'll clinch that spot for you.
I think everybody wants to have the Devils at this point on their schedule.
Yeah, Devils, Canadiens, Sabres, Coyotes. You got all four of them in a good stretch. You have hopefully 4 easy wins.
What do you think that they're going to do next to adjust their roster to hopefully go back this next season and maybe be, if Colorado doesn't make it, maybe have Montreal come back and make the Stanley Cup Finals this next season. No, I'm not talking about this season, because I don't think they're not going to. They're not going. But next season, what do you think that they should do towards the deadline, and what do you think they should do towards the NHL offseason?
So, I've seen Montreal's roster. Their roster is kind of getting up there in age. So
ready for younger guys.
Yeah, they've got some young guys up on the front, like Nick Suzuki. Nick Suzuki. He's got star potential. He was already an all-star this year. And they've also got Cole Caulfield, who really hasn't panned out like he should have. But honestly, I believe in him. He'll probably hit. This is just really his rookie season, so you can't really just judge it off of one season. But they've also got some veterans on the team. And I'm not saying get rid of all of it, but I'm also saying try and get some draft capital with that. Try to build up your team through development, through the draft. It's going to take a while. But clearly something went wrong in the Montreal organization that it just really messed with the team, and they did not come back from it correctly. So I say maybe try to do like a half of a roster reset, get some nice draft capital in there, get some good guys that you can develop, and hopefully some of those AHL guys in Montreal can also pan out.
Draft a goalie. One that they had one last year that took them all the way. Made it to the Stanley Cup Finals, but he didn't play a single game on ice this season. And I know we just talked about that, but that's going to change a lot. Is getting a goalie.
Yeah, I mean, you saw what happened with the Red Wings. We got Nedeljkovic, and we went out and got Nedeljkovic, and instead of being like the absolute dumpster fire of the league, we're 500, which is amazing considering that 2 years ago, we were absolutely awful trying to fight for the first draft pick, but we got number 4. And so we kind of, in my opinion, we did all that losing for nothing because like we didn't even get the number 1 draft pick. And so they've started to rebuild. They've drafted a few good players, but yeah, as you said, draft a goalie that will seriously help, or even go into the free agency and going to sign a younger guy.
Yeah, somebody
trade
that
deadline
will be
too.
playing will be playing games and is not injured all the time. But and goaltending. The very first hockey game I went to, and it wasn't an NHL game. I've seen a lot of games on TV, but I've only been to one hockey game in person. And that was a WHL, Western Hockey League. The Seattle Thunderbirds, they started off with an early 3-0 lead, but their goaltending started to get sloppy, and eventually the Portland Winterhawks started to catch up, and they won in a shootout, 6-5. So
high scoring game, I like that.
Yeah, it was a high scoring game. It wasn't the highest scoring game that day, but it was a high scoring game, and but that really dealt with the lack of protecting the goal, especially towards the second and third period. That experience firsthand is something that I would say that could honestly help both the Seattle Thunderbirds and the Montreal Canadiens. Now we did touch briefly a little bit about that. I know we're kind of going through the topics just a little bit, but the last one might take a little bit to talk about. But the next one is Claudia Girax. Where would he go if he is not re-signed? Where do you think he might attend? Do you think that he might get traded in the trade deadline?
Well, right now, what I've been reading on, like, I usually just pull up the NHL app once a day, try to scroll through the news, see what's new. What I've been reading a lot about in the past couple of weeks and the past actual month, like before even the All-Star break, is that I've heard that Claude Giroux might go at the trade deadline. I thought that they would let him play out the rest of the season, and then he would just walk and maybe sign with a different team, maybe retire. No, they think that they might trade him. Now, as for trade destinations, I'm sure if the Flyers want to get it done, then they'll get it done, and I'm sure that the Flyers do want to get that done. I don't think Claude Giroux really wants to be there anymore. They're kind of not the best team, and he wants to be on a winner, hopefully. And so I'm trying to think of I was trying to think of different team destinations for him, and a couple of them caught my eye. One, if you want to go for a three-peat, just go out and get another veteran center that can score, and he's got amazing passing ability. He just go out and get him Tampa Bay. If you want to go for the three-peat, just go. Hopefully, you really want to solidify your forwards. Go and get Claude Giroux, as well as if Toronto wants to make a very deep run in the playoffs, possibly a championship run, I would say then go get Claude Giroux. They want maybe get him as maybe switch. Oh man, I can't remember his name. Do you remember the second line center for the Maple Leafs by any chance? Tavares. Maybe maybe put Tavares at right wing, put Giroux at center, and hopefully that would work out a little bit. But also another team that I see is Calgary, because Calgary has a bunch of different mismatch positions, and they could probably stick him anywhere on that team, and he would be a good forward for them.
I had one team in mind. He's probably going to go to his contending team. And no, I'm not talking about mine, but it is, however, in the same division. I think that maybe the Minnesota Wild might take a chance and go after him.
That I could see. I don't doubt that. They do have a now younger squad after giving up Parise last season. So now they're kind of looking for that veteran presence. I mean, they don't need it, but they're probably looking for it a little bit. And so honestly, I think Giroux, they could put him in the second line, and him and the two, oh man, him and Kevin Fiala could go nuts.
Yeah. Yeah. You look at they had been on a roll as of late, and just adding that veteran experience. It's probably going to make things better. Maybe not at first, because maybe you have to get used into maybe a new system, but I do think that would be another one. Another one that I can see, you already brought that up, Calgary Flames, which they have been a shock. I did not expect Calgary to do this well.
I'm not going to say too much just because I don't want to get too off topic, but I would say Calgary had the pieces for it. They had all the young pieces. Mangiapane is a great draft pick. I think they got him in the second or third round. He's a great draft pick so far. Now they obviously have the two main guys, Monahan and Gaudreau. They also have Elias Lindholm. He's young. He's maybe teetering on the edge of his prime. Maybe also has a couple of years left. Who knows? But honestly, right now it looks like he's got a couple of years left in that prime, and that's going to be very, very good. But I'm pretty sure it was as I was saying before, the young guy development. Last season they weren't that great, but they developed the young guys over that offseason and this offseason, and now they're in. I think, are they in the wild card? Or are they in the third? Or are they in the third spot?
Calgary.
Yes,
they're actually second.
Ooh, they're second.
So they're
last time I checked, they were in third.
In the Pacific Division, they're second behind the Golden Knights, and the LA Kings are third.
Ah, that's right. The Kings. What a comeback for the Kings.
Yes. So now let's go on into the last topic real quick. Unless we have any comments, we do actually, except that it's not in hockey, it's a college football question. But
I say we can answer it at the end. I mean,
yeah, we can answer it at the end.
Why not?
So the last question is playoffs, but more specifically towards the Pacific side. Now I have one that probably. I do have a playoff picture that probably breaks it down more, but I am looking at Google right now. So on the Western Conference, the Avalanche are at first, the Predators are second, and the Wild are third, with fourth and fifth being the Blues and the Stars. Jets, Blackhawks, and Coyotes are probably not going to make it.
And Kraken.
Yeah. And then Pacific Division, you have the Golden Knights, you have the Flames, you have the Kings, and then the fourth and the fifth are the Ducks and the Oilers. Now, I'm going to have to look at this a little closer. Actually, right now, fourth across the first wild card spot is the Blues as of right now, and then the Ducks have the second.
Oh, another good comeback story.
Yeah, it is.
There's a bunch of comeback stories this season. Kings,
especially
Ducks.
in the West.
Yeah.
I mean, East, you have the New York Rangers. It's another good comeback story. Islanders is the exact opposite of a comeback story. Same with the Flyers.
Been a little rough.
Yeah. And then, looking at the East real quick, the Panthers are on top in the Atlantic Division. Lightning are second. Maple Leafs are third. And then Metropolitan Division has the Hurricanes on top at first. Penguins are second, and then New York Rangers are third. The wild card number 1 would go to
Washington, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Washington.
Yes, it's Washington, and then wild card number 2 is Boston.
Oh boy. Yeah, so it looks like the East is honestly set. It looks kind of slim that really any of the other teams. I mean, maybe if Columbus and the Islanders go on a big run, and if Detroit also, but I highly doubt Detroit's going on a huge run to make the playoffs.
Islanders, I wouldn't say they're going on a run, but
Yeah.
they do have a winning record in the last 10 games.
I wouldn't, unless any of these teams go on just a large expanded winning streak. I don't see anybody really
by the way, they're
changing.
losing right now. But so the Islanders are losing right now, but that still doesn't, really matter. Looking at they have a rough schedule coming. I mean, they have a mediocre schedule coming up. They have the Flames, which that's probably a loss. The Sabres are next after that, so that's probably a W, and then probably another loss to the Bruins, and then Canadiens and Kraken. So yeah, it's probably like 500 in the next
couple games.
Next couple of games.
Might even drop one in overtime. Who knows?
Yeah, I can see like maybe a Brewers or something like that. Bruins, not Brewers. I'm thinking of baseball. Now on the West, do you think that's pretty set forward?
I don't think so, because I think the Pacific is kind of tight, because all you have is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7-point differential between the second wild card spot and 3rd through 6th place in the Pacific and Central. So honestly, anything can happen. It is the race to the postseason. So honestly, anything can happen. I'm not gonna say that it is set in stone, but I don't think it's not. Excuse me. I don't think the Pacific or the Central is set in stone. I'm pretty sure first place. I mean, Colorado, I think, will lock up first place at some point.
Yeah.
But Minnesota and Nashville are obviously going to be fighting each other for position in there. And, I mean, the Pacific is only separated by 4 points. Vegas drops 2 and Kings win 2. If they win the tiebreaker or whatever they got to win, pretty sure Vegas would drop down to 3.
The difference between first and 7th is 7 games. The Seattle Kraken is the only outlier.
Yeah, it's well, then there's Arizona with 28 points, unfortunately.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, I wasn't talking about points. I was talking about the games, wins, losses, but
yeah, not too great. It is. Yeah, no, that's not good. 13 games.
Now, giving you a quick update, and then that's all we have. That's actually, we got through all the topics in about 30 minutes. I'll give a quick score update real quick, and then anything else that you might have to say before we get this to close. Anyway, Seattle Kraken versus the Ducks have not started yet, but everybody else has. Lightning has scored 1 goal already, pretty early in the first period against the Coyotes. 1-0. Jets have scored a goal over the Stars pretty early in the second period. It's 1-0, and the Oilers have a 1-0 lead over the Islanders. Any any other predictions that you might have for the NHL trade deadline?
Um, you know, there's not really much that have. I haven't done that much research into teams that really want to trade players off, so I can't make any really solid predictions. But I can predict. I think that instead of going for a goalie in the draft or a goalie in the free agency, I think Montreal will trade for a goalie on the trade deadline.
So I'm reading some headlines of articles, and a lot of them are predicting that Colorado might go for. We just talked about them, but Colorado is another team that might go for Durox.
Ooh, that would be interesting. Would you like that? Would you like
Yes.
that move?
Yes.
You like that? You like that move? Good. I think that would be a good move for Colorado. I think that would honestly bolster their chances, and I would put them as the favorite for the Stanley Cup if they did get Giroux, just because that's just more depth, and Giroux is pretty good depth if you ask me. He's an all-star and he's got innate passing ability that.
Honestly, our
it's so
biggest
good.
struggle last year was honestly I think biggest struggle last year was goalie. And we had a lot of people scoring on us, even though that we were high on offense, but we just couldn't hold. People were just scoring against us too, especially in the second period for us scoring against them. So I think really. I feel like that's gone a lot better with the changes that we made. Nathan McKinnon actually asked for a cap cut. Basically, he's getting
salary
paid
cut?
less. Salary cap cut.
Okay. So he wants to take a pay cut.
Yeah, he asked for a pay cut.
To move some space for cap. Okay.
So
okay.
yeah, to get help for other player help from around him. And honestly, I think that's what improved a lot compared to last year. I mean, last year we were second in the. No, we were first. We were first because
Yeah, you guys got the Presidents.
Yeah, we got the Presidents.
Trophy.
We got the President's Trophy because of what Vegas did at the very last second.
Vegas.
Vegas, lost a couple of games, even though in the second round they had us in a 4-2 advantage. They won. I wouldn't say it would be like a gentleman's sweep because we won the first two instead of the first game, but we got swept after that.
That's the worst. You win 2 games, you get your hopes up, and then all of a sudden you lose 4 straight, and you're just like, why? Why has this happened?
And it happened right at the same time the Denver Nuggets got swept by the Phoenix Suns.
Yeah, that
so both of my teams got knocked out of the playoffs in the second round at the same time.
That is rough. I mean, I'm a Steelers fan. Whenever they got blown out by the Browns, that was a pretty sad day in my opinion. That was not a good night. Wild card game last year.
That was a crazy game. So there is one question, and go ahead and address that before we get to the close. Isaiah Leung, he asks, what are your thoughts about Auburn keeping Coach Harsin? Do you want to take that one first, or do you want me to?
I got you. I know that he's under a lot of scrutiny right now for, I'm pretty sure it's mistreatment of staff. I need to get like a fact check on that, hopefully, but I think it is mistreatment of staff or something. I know that he's under a lot of investigation, but we've kind of seen this before with other coaches, and we've seen them get fired, and we've also seen them stay. And I don't think it's going to really affect anything. My thoughts on it are, I mean, if he's a good coach, you got to keep him. And if Harsin what is Harsin? Is he the offensive coach?
I think he is the offensive coach.
Yeah. So I mean, their offensive scheme isn't. Excuse me. Auburn's offense wasn't the best last season, but it also wasn't the worst. So I think keeping him's the best idea for Auburn, unless they find out that something awful happened within the investigation. But honestly, I think that this will kind of just blow over as just another investigation for this, and I think
I need to do some more research into that too. But I will say this though, that it depends on how severe of what was going on. And it also depends on, is this the first time that this has actually happened?
Right.
Because if this was the first time and it wasn't, a severe case, maybe he might be, maybe he might take a couple game suspension, like 2 or 3. I know that hurts a lot because, I get it. There's only 4 teams that can make the playoffs, but that hurts your chances. I get that, but at the same time, it depends on the severity of the case.
Yeah. I'm hoping it's nothing too bad. I mean, I'm wishing obviously for the best outcome for this, but I think that this will probably chalk up to be a minor issue, and this won't be a major issue. But I think. But as of right now, I think it's their best. I think it's Auburn's best in Auburn's best interest to keep Harsin, because he's clearly doing something with the offense that is going in an upward direction.
So this has been another,
the first installment,
first episode of Between the Pipes with Nate and Xander, and we'll see you guys next Friday.
Sounds great.
Whole sports all plays. Yeah. Whole sports all plays. Whole sports all plays.